have you also created controllers?
Yeah, controller, service, and repository.
Okay, so suppose I want to use component annotation instead of controller. So can I use that?
Yeah, we can use the component annotation instead of controller or base controller. On the basis of mapping the whatever we given in the controller class, it's about like get mapping, post mapping, post whatever we want. On that basis, it will be fine if we haven't give any specific annotation on our class controller class.
Do you know the internal working of a hash map?
Actually, the when we add the element input method, so the element has get the raises the hash code value, and those hash code value divided by default 16 bucket capacity, and if the index come on the behalf of checking, the value are stored on the bucket number.
Have you heard about Singleton design pattern?
Singleton means like it will create a can create only one object for that particular thing, entire thing. We can make use of that particular object to whatever we want.
Yeah.
That is a Singleton design pattern, I think. Yes.
Yeah. So, and suppose there are multiple profiles like test profile, dev profile, and there are multiple application properties as well according to the profile. So how do you make sure while running the application you are running with the test properties?
Yeah, so that we can for that we can actually create multiple properties file with the name defined names, that application properties hyphen dev application properties hyphen test, and then we can create a config class in the application where we can actually specify the profile by annotation at the profile annotation, and then dev, and at the profile annotation test. Yeah, like that we can actually specify, and in this way we actually make sure that which profile I want to execute for which case.
Okay, so suppose a user is try to log in from multiple browsers. So user is trying to log in from a Chrome browser and Internet Explorer and some other Opera browser at the same moment. So how do you restrict a user to log in from the multiple tabs or browsers with the help of Spring Security?
We have something called and operators and allowed things in your things that overriding your class. Right there, you can write it out. Actually, I'm not getting that exact one. We recall it. In that security class we are overriding, right? We mentioned that particular URLs are allowed or not by means of a protocol, and then you give the allowed. I'm not able to recall that exact implementation, but the class where you are extending your Spring security, right? There only you have.
What is the use of pom.xml file in Maven apart from dependencies?
In POM XML, we apart from dependencies, we mention the starter packages of so dependencies there are. So if open in Eclipse, apart from XML, we can see there are multiple tabs where we can define. So one is like where you can mention current packages you want to install for your project. This is one thing I think. And apart from that, on the basis of that packages, download the interfaces. We can mention your plugins, which plugins you want to install. Again, packaging type can be mentioned. And again, if there is one concept which is of root POM, we say when we have dependent, so it is kind of, I'm just confused, it is on more a side on build XML where we use root POMs to configure a build dependency structure.
What are the advantage of using YAML file over property file?
YAML file, in the sense, in the property YAML file, we don't have any configurations like, so we're not supposed to have a configuration in the YAML file. It will not maintain in the secret. So in the YAML file, we'll have just any secrets or any URL redirection, those kind of stuffs only we'll have in the YAML file. In the property file, we'll have the connection pooling and the database configuration. Well, like I said, the auto configuration enable, disable, the port number. These values will be present in the property file.
No, but in YAML file also you can give these values.
Yeah, but the best practice will not maintain those values in the property file. In the property file, each profile we can able to maintain the separate files like in the property. YAML will comes along with the project, so we'll not have a separate files. We'll have a multiple. As I said earlier, we will have a different. We will create a different profiles, right? So we can be done in the property.
Okay, YAML also support. You don't need to give
It will have a full profiles in a single YAML file. Property file, by using property, we can have a separate file.
You can have separate file for every profile in YAML files as well. The one advantage is you can have it support different data types. I mean, so automatically it supports different data types. You don't need to, in properties you have to give everything as a string.
Yes.
As a keyword. So here if you give any integer value, the system will recognize that this particular, and it is more structured as well.
Yeah, the YAML file is more structured compared to property file.
Can you import the same package twice?
Same package we can't, but we can have a different, sub package imported. Let's say Java, import java.util.star, and I can also mention import java.util.array list or list as well. So that way we can do, but we can't write like import java.util.star 2 times.
What are the different challenges you have, I mean recent challenge you have faced in your task?
Challenges means actually I never worked on the full stack development. So previously I worked as a backend developer. So I got a recent opportunity to work on the full stack. So actually I started to learn the front end frameworks like in our organization they have our client already shortlisted to work on the React application. So I have started learning all the React and all by using the online mediums like Udemy and all, Coursera, etc. So they were facing some little challenges. Okay, so because the front end development and the back end development, actually there are some differences, right? The JavaScript is work differently compared to Java. So I was little struggling, but later on when I developed hands on my front end skills, then things go a little better. So now I'm little bit confident or more confident on my front end development.
Do you have experience in Hibernate or any other similar technology?
Earlier, I worked with Hibernate, and now Spring Data JPA mainly using.
So in Spring Data JPA, how can we create a custom repository?
By the that naming convention, we can actually create, like, if I want to means get some details by name, so that we can give that method name, that find by name means if that variable name is in entity class is name, then find by name. If variable name is emp underscore emp name in entity class, then we have to give the name of that method find by emp name or find by ID. Yeah, like that. And if any complex SQL queries I want to implement, then we can provide the SQL queries at the method level also.
Have you created any thread pools?
Yeah.
So there is a thread pool called single thread pool which contains only single thread. So what is the use of that? I mean, a thread pool which is containing only single thread. Can you tell me what can be use of that?
Okay, as you're saying, there will be a single thread pool, means there will be always one thread on the application level you're saying, or the class level? Application level, if I'm
In
understood.
general.
Okay, so if I'm considering that application level, there will be the one thread that will be performing operation on the any resources whenever you are calling with that thread. So the thread pool, I understand that you can put on the object level or the class or application level as well. So if you are taking it into the application level, then there will be the one single thread for the entire application or context that can be used. And the use of this, we can say that there will be not any other concurrent update that is happening on the any resource that will be we can restrict.
Okay.
Because there will be one single thread that is performing the operation at a time.
Can you give me some of the examples of synchronized collection and concurrent collection?
Synchronized collections and concurrent. Basically, synchronization is the concept like only for methods but not for blocks.
No, a method can also be a synchronized method, and you can also create a synchronized block as well.
If like multiple threads are working on the same object, like on the same Java object, then there will be some inconsistency problem.
Yeah.
So for this, they have introduced synchronized collections and concurrent collections concept. For this, like there are like HashMap, like HashMap and concurrent HashMap. So HashMap is thread safe. We can say that it is like HashMap is not thread safe. Like we can say that it is not synchronized, and concurrent HashMap is thread safe. So we can say it is like thread safe. Synchronized.
So apart from that, there are several example of several collections which supports synchronization. So nowadays there are like there is concurrent HashMap, which is actually not part of collection hierarchy, but yeah, it is kind of a HashMap. There is copy on write array list.
Copy on write array list, copy
So
on
it
write
is
array
similar,
set.
yeah, it is similar to array list, but yeah, it is synchronized array list, you can say.
Yes.
Concurrent hash map is also a synchronized hash map.
And there is also like hash table that is also synchronized.
What is the difference between a normal service and a microservice?
So we can compare like a monolithic application as a normal service and microservice. So in a monolithic application, the application size is huge, and if you want to make any modification to a smaller part of code, we have to redeploy whole application. Also, it has other drawbacks like deployment takes too much time since the code size is large. Then a smaller change need to deploy whole application. So it is difficult to maintain as well. So in case of microservices, we can split the monolithic application into smaller services as per their functionality, and they can be developed and deployed independently. So in case there is an issue in particular service, so also in microservices we can have different applications in different technologies as well. I can have a microservice in a .NET as well, in Python as well, and one in Java as well, and still they can communicate with each other. So there are multiple ways of communication between microservices. It may be asynchronous and asynchronous. For asynchronous application, we use queuing technology like RabbitMQ or Kafka. And asynchronous call, we can simply call a REST endpoint. Like in Java, we can use a REST template calling other endpoint.